Hello, welcome to part 2 of the two-step equations video. I'm so sorry it's taking so many videos to get through this, but we're going to get through this together. Don't worry. So what we're going to work on is number 4 from your worksheet. It says 0 equals 4 plus n over 5. Again, do not panic. It's going to be okay because we know we have to do what first? We've got to get the variable right here, n over 5. And we've got to get that isolated. But first, we've got to get rid of all the other drama happening in this problem, right? There's some drama happening with the 4, so we've got to combine like scrubs or combine like terms, whatever you call it. And we're going to get rid of this 4 over here. Whoop. I'm going to get rid of this 4 over there. And when I subtract 4 from 0, I'm going to end up with negative 4. Equals n over 5. Now that I've gotten this set up like this, it is a one-step equation. This is stuff that should be looking very familiar to you, okay? And from here, we know that n is being divided by 5. So the inverse of that would be multiplication, where we multiply 5 to this side, we multiply 5 to that side. I know that 5 times negative 4 is negative 20. So I have n equals negative 20. Again, you want to be sure you're checking all of your work for this. The way you check your work is you rewrite the equation. You plug in your your value for where the variable is at, and you check to see if the statement is true. So that's how you do it. You can refer to my old videos if you're still confused on that. But let's keep moving. I'm going to practice 2 more of these problems with you from this worksheet. Why? Because I'm trying to help you understand how to work on this independently by teaching you example problems. You are also welcome to refer to your notes that I had you copy down on Friday. And if you need more of the steps or more help, you're welcome to come into tutoring on Tuesdays with Tutoring Tuesdays with Miss B. So let's go ahead and talk about this one because it's a very interesting problem. Number 6 is, so as you notice on the left side of the equal sign here, we have a negative 1. And then we move to the right of this, we see a couple things happening, okay? First, we see 5 plus x, but not just that, no. We see that over the number 6, okay? So if you're seeing this at home, you're probably like, what on earth is happening in this problem right now? Let me tell you a little secret. You don't need to be freaked out by this because all that's happening here is that 5 plus x is being divided by 6, okay? So what that means is what we have to learn to view this as is a whole entire problem instead of just compartmentalizing it to being just 5 plus x or just divided by 6, if that makes sense. So let me show you exactly what I mean. So what I mean here is this whole thing, this 5 plus x divided by 6 is an entire thing. We have to get rid of one thing before we can move on to the other. And so what we have to know is that 5 plus x, they're glued together. They're stuck there in the numerator together. And so what we have to know is our first step here is not to subtract 5 from x because we have to get rid of this 6 first. And so to do that, we have to do the inverse of what we see 6 is doing. And we know that 6 is dividing 5 plus x, so we have to then multiply it to both sides in order to figure out how to solve this problem. So I'm going to multiply 6 over here, and then I'm going to multiply 6 over here. So I know that 6 times negative 1 is going to give me negative 6. And because I got rid of the 6 in the denominator over there, I'm going to go ahead and drop down the 5 plus x over here. So I'm going to do 5 plus x just like this. And it should look really familiar like another one-step equation, right? So now what do I have to do? Well, I've got to isolate the variable because I just combined like terms or combined like scrubs, and I have to move over this 5 so that x can really truly be isolated or by itself, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the inverse of positive 5, which is negative 5 or subtracting 5. So I'm going to subtract 5 here, and I'm going to subtract 5 here. Now, this is another part where you've got to learn to slow down and look at everything before you just jump into an answer. Because I know you guys know this. I know you know your rational numbers and subtracting them. When we have a negative number, that's big, subtracting another negative number, it actually turns into an addition problem for negative numbers. What that means is if I'm on a number line, right, and I'm at negative 6 over here, and I take away 6 more things, I'm going backwards to the left 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, which means I'll actually end up at negative 11 because I'm going further away from 0. So my x here, you guys, is going to equal negative 11. Now, is it okay that the negative 11 is on the opposite side that we're used to seeing it? Yes. You can either write it like this or you can write it x equals negative 11. But no matter which way you write it, it's only counted if that 11 is a negative 11, okay? So make sure that you're watching out for those signs. And I'm going to do a quick review on how to check for this just in case you can't find the other video. But when you're checking, you have to rewrite your original equation, right? Just like we talked about. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite my problem just like the problem was when I first saw it. So I have negative 1 equals 5 plus x in the numerator and being divided by 6 in the denominator, right? So when I see this, I know that I have to then plug in the value that I just got, ding, 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 here it is, negative 11, for every time I see the letter x in this problem. So I know that I have negative 1 equals 5 plus negative 11, okay? So if you're nervous about how to put that in and write it without getting confused, I always put it in parentheses just so it helps me out a little bit. And then I'm going to put it over 6, okay? So now let's try this. We have positive 5 minus 11. So now I have to remember, how do I solve negative 11 plus 5, right? Well, I know, because I'm a super, super smart 6th and 7th grader, just kidding, I'm a teacher, that my answer for that is going to be negative 6. So I'm going to get negative 6 over 6. And when I divide that, I'm actually going to get negative 1. And so if negative 1 is true for both sides, then my answer is correct because I just checked it to make sure it was true, and it was. So make sure that you're practicing that at home, those exact steps, because it will help you when you're doing your homework, okay? We're going to practice one more problem, so go ahead and follow along on your worksheet for this last one. All right, last problem for this video today is number 8. As you see, we have 2 outside of the parentheses, n plus 5 equals negative 2. So what that means, guys, is you probably remember whatever we see a number outside of parentheses, it's telling us to distribute them, right? To multiply whatever's on the inside. So we have to remember what to do with our paper boy. Well, the paper boy has to distribute to only the people who live inside the parentheses, because otherwise he'll lose his job. So we have to multiply 2 to n, which gives us 2n. Then we have to multiply 2 to 5, which gives us 10, so plus 10. And then have to carry down the exact last half over here, which equals negative 2. So now that we've solved for that, that's distributing part. We've got to still figure out how to move from there to solving for this equation. But there's all this drama in the way, Miss B. So glad you brought that up because we need to figure out how to get rid of it. So I'm going to do the inverse of what I see here. I'm going to get rid of this 10 by subtracting it to both sides, and then I'm going to subtract all the way down. Negative 2 minus negative 10 is negative 12. And then I'm going to bring down my equal sign and drop down that 2n. And then I'm going to divide each side by 2. So I have 2 over here, cancel that out. Divided by 2 over there, cancel that out. Just kidding. It's actually just going to be n equals negative 6. So if you got that for an answer, give yourself a thumbs up because you are fantastic and you're going to keep doing wonderful things. Keep pushing through this. Watch this over and over again if you have to. If you have questions, please email me. Have the most wonderful day ever.